that aren't. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Monday morning. So glad it's Monday morning. Beginning of a new week. All kinds of new opportunities ahead. Let's go get them, right? I hope yesterday was awesome. Super great. I hope tomorrow's twice as good even. But let's talk about today. I want to talk about how to win the day today and what that looks like. And I was thinking about it because we seem to be working really hard lately. And we're getting some people to do some things, but not many to do much. If that makes any sense. Then the question comes back to, is it us? Is it us? Are we falling short? Are we good enough? Or is it the market? Or is it both? Probably the answer is both to some degree. But the fact of the matter is any market, every market, all markets require certain things. And the great Art Williams, if you don't know who he is, go Google him, ran an insurance company. But he said, and this has stuck with me since the day I heard it till I'd go on my tombstone. All you can do is all you can do. He says, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. All right. I added to that, all you can do is all you can do. All you can do is enough if you're doing all you can do. Yeah. A lot of people forget that last part. They do some, but not. Did you do everything? Yeah. Well, did you have more? Yeah. Well, do everything you can do. Then you can lean on that. But here's where it comes from. He said he would go on these appointments. He'd have the perfect product for these people. He'd have the incredible presentation. He would just answer all their questions and ask them questions and answer those questions and just lay it all out where there's any reasonable, any sane person would say yes. And yet he said some of them did not. And they would use somebody else or they would use nothing. And that sounds a lot like what we're doing. We're telling folks, our owners and sellers and buyers, all the good reasons why they should act today, how it's in their best interest, and all the stuff that goes with it. And still we're getting, we're going to wait and see. Or they end up going with somebody else. Okay? It's the way it is. It's that's what I said. It's the market to some degree, and it's your skill to some degree. So two things I would tell you is, one, get better at asking questions and going deeper into conversations, because those conversations will pull out true information that you can use to better guide them. And then perhaps then they'll act in their best manner, right? In their best interest. Otherwise, you're just a commission hungry person. Two, if you do that, they see you as a pro. And when they are ready, when they are truly interested in doing something, they'll come to you, which is a good thing. Both those are good. But you're still not going to get them. But the second part of that is, if you talk to enough people, you will get enough of them to give you enough business that you can live a life bigger than you even dreamed.
Yeah.
There's two hard parts in that. One, you put on a great presentation, gets shut down, kills you from your ego, your confidence. Therefore, you don't have enough conversations, right? That kills you from your ego and your self-confidence and your checkbook, right? So what happens, or what I would encourage you to do, is don't let the ones that won't keep you from the ones that will. That is the trick that you're going to have to learn how to play in your own mind, because the markets matter. And the difference, you can wait for a good market, right? High tide raises all boats. We all know that. Low tide drops them. But the difference between you, if you're watching this, listening to this, or whatever, and everyone else is, when you're prepared, when you're doing all the right things happen way more often. All right. Your lows aren't nearly as low. Your highs are extraordinarily high. And the distance between the two are significantly shorter when you're doing all you can do. Right. When you're studying the market, when you're previewing property, when you're talking to people, when you're doing all those things that we talk about, your highs are going to be super high. Yeah. Okay. Your lows aren't going to be nearly as low, and the in-betweens aren't going to be nearly as long. So please, please, please remember, all you can do is all you can do. right? And that's enough if you're doing all you can do. Pure and simple, right? So then all you have to do is talk to enough people. Simple. It's so simple. Yeah, so very easy, right? Eat less, diet, and exercise, right? Exercise more, eat less. Hard when they shove a slice of pizza and a couple beers in front of you. But that's the game. That's the game. So yes, it's you, and yes, it's the market, and that's a good thing. Mark, what do you got on that?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind as Ansel Adams, the great photographer, says that favor rewards preparation. And I also am very mindful of the parable of the sower. And Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, if you haven't looked him up, look up Parable of the Sower, because what he talks about is you've got to learn from that parable of the sower. And that when the sower, who had an excellent seed, you can have an excellent presentation, you can have an excellent opportunity, and you can sow that seed, but sometimes the birds will snatch it. Sometimes there's shallow soil that the first heat of interest rates, they wither. Sometimes thorny soil will choke out opportunities. But he says the key is you keep sowing and do all that you can do, because if you don't stay out of the field and you continue to sow, the parable tells us the seed will ultimately find the good soil. And some of the soil will do 30%, some 60%, and some 100%. And really the moral of that is, your job, our job as realtors, is to talk to people. That's sowing the seed. We can have excellent seed, but somebody's life circumstances can be just really thorny at the moment. Doesn't matter how good your presentation, they're just not there. Don't try to change the soil. Keep sowing. That's the key.
I would add to that. Hold on a second. Let's think about this for a quick minute. Still comes back to, if you have a good presentation, it's better than a bad one.
Completely.
Right? So make sure you have a good presentation. But a good presentation isn't enough to get the work you want.
Yeah.
You could talk to a ton of people, and if you don't have a good presentation, you're going to have to talk to twice as many. So combine the two, right? Is that the same? I mean, is that
I think the thing is what if you lack skill, you're going to have to make up in numbers. And that's the law of ratios. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the better you are at converting. And Jim Rohn says you've got to discipline the disappointment, because sometimes your most excellent presentation just isn't going to happen. And that's no fault of your own. It's just
don't fall for the one where you do a really crappy job and it works. That's
a
false prophet as well.
Yeah, it scares the daylights out of me for a brand new agent who gets a home run on their first conversation. I go, you're going to set up an expectation of this is how the game is run, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Be careful. Destiny, what's your experience?
Well, my experience is you have to determine what is your enough. What works for one person may not work for you or for me. And so, then understanding that, like I said earlier, we're in the third quarter and things typically start to slow down. You lose some of that momentum that you had in the first and second quarter. So you've got to change your enough to having even more conversations and talking to more people so that you can get the results that you want.
Perfect. Love that. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. One of the things that I love, and I guess, I don't know if it was Gary Keller or what have you, he says, but picture the year like the face of a clock. Mm-hmm. And as you move through the 12 months, there's the downhill of the first 6 months, and then there's the uphill of the next turn of the dial up through. And you've got to get the momentum to pedal back uphill or run back uphill. And so it's not that there's not business to be had in the third and fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. It's just that you have to double down. And this is where, when you talk about doing everything that you can, when you're running up a hill or you're riding up a hill, you drop down into lower gears. I always say you chop up a hill when you're running by shortening your stride and make sure you're increasing your turnover rate. Well, in real estate, that means say less to more people. You've got to cast a wider net on the uphill swing of the year rather than, and if you'll do that through the churn, you'll crest and come into the first quarter of next year. And then you have the momentum of the downhill run, the downhill ride. And so whether people realize it or not, right now you're setting up how fast you'll ride downhill in 2025.
Love it. Love it. There's plenty of business to be had. I think the market is actually starting to turn a little bit. We're going to see transactions and things start to go up. So to win the day, a couple things. One, really set a goal to talk to people. All right. And whatever your goal is, if it's 10, add 2. If it's 20, add 2, right? Whatever your goal for contacts today, add 2 to it. Let's do that. Let's just talk to a lot of people. The second thing to win the day is make sure you have your script and you go deep. Don't stop with the first objection. Handle the objection and keep asking the questions. So you have these deeper conversations. Oftentimes when it seems like they're going to, they just want to get off the phone or close the door on you or just end the conversation. If you just ask one more question, they'll start to tell you stuff. And then that's when it starts to kick in. Matter of fact, I've heard some statistics or something. You have to get 5 or 6 closes in, and on the 7th one is when something happens. Now, remember, this is important too. We are salespeople. Yes. Mm-hmm. But the way we want to do sales, in my view anyway, is to find out what's wrong with our patient and provide them the proper fix and let them finish it, right? We don't need to talk them into anything. What we need to do is to give them their options and have them understand which option does what and let them choose which one. If you do it right, they're going to choose the option that works for them. And if you're in the right spot, it'll work for you as well. And that's when the greatness happens. The power of one more, Jamie Dixon. Isn't that the truth? The next one's the one. You just never know when the next one is. So just keep doing more, right? So
I love that. And this is something I coach to, and you're hitting to it, is give clients options. We oftentimes are trying to convince instead of, we are consultants in many ways. And when you give options and allow people to make choices, you'll get a lot more accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. But just be careful because we're human, right? We talk to somebody, no. Okay. Boy, I was really good on that. And they still said no. I must not be very good. I'm stopping, right? Wrong. Your timing might not be right. Okay. Or you just might, you need to get better too, for sure.
Yeah.
But you can do it. All you can do is all you can do if you're doing all you can do. Even if you suck. I mean, let's be honest. You talk to enough people and you suck. I remember Mike Ferry used to say, and I probably said it here, you can knock on a door if your plan is to just throw up on whoever answers it, you're not going to get that much work. But eventually you're going to run into somebody and say, you know what? I don't really dig it, but nice approach. Come on in, let's talk.
That's
right?
it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it, but you can suck bad and still get somewhere. All you can do is all you can do. It's the way it is. And all you can do is enough. If you talk to enough people, right? Because a lot of it comes down to timing, and you just got to make sure you're there. Okay. So to win the day, let's go back to it. Make sure you're talking to enough people about what they want. And then once you understand what they want, figure out how to get it for them, and they'll come to you. Not all of them. No matter what. Some people, you know what? I dated a guy named John in college. I hated the guy. I would never work with anybody named John. It's not you, it's me. Right about that, right?
John, I was walking in once showing a house, and the client just was digging the house. I mean, they were into it. Turned the corner and there was the wedding photo. And she's like, oh, I know that guy. He lives here. He's in a bunch of debt and he's selling his house to get out of it. I will not rescue him. Let's leave.
Yeah.
It's just like,
people, no matter what. I mean, no matter what you do, You're going to
Yeah.
run into somebody, they're going to pump you for info, and then they're going to tell you their wife or husband's a realtor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or they're a realtor, right? Or their best friend's a realtor, or they hate realtors. They're just trying to find stuff out. Okay. That's a script problem. But yeah, it's you and it's the market. Okay. I think the market's getting ready to open up a little bit.
I do too.
It's really been down from the investor side, but it looks like it's starting to come around. There's a bunch of interesting things going out in the background we can talk about later. I spent the weekend with a friend of mine who's a banker who's in charge of bad credit. And he's telling me that there's some issues going on with credit. Start to look for a few more foreclosures coming. Not enough to change the market, but enough that are coming.
Where there'll be some opportunities.
There's really a lot of things going on. So yeah. All right. So we're gonna have a quicker one today to win the day. Whatever you do normally, add to.
I like
In
it.
whatever conversation you have normally, go deeper, right? Learn a little bit more about your clients so you can provide a little bit more, and let's see how that goes for you. I bet it's gonna be pretty good. And then just know that when you get into a thing and it's just somebody's being silly, all you can do is all you can do.
Yeah.
All you can do is all you can do. Give yourself that out as long as you're doing all you can do, right? And that'll be enough to get you enough business that incredible, some of the things you're going to be able to do. Don't give up, I guess is the long or short version of that long story. Y'all got anything you want to add?
I love that. If you want to do yourself a favor, look up on YouTube, Jim Rohn, The
Mhm.
Parable of the Sower, because it's just this very thing is you've got to learn how to say, isn't that fascinating? I thought for sure the deal was going to go through and something choked them out of your control. Don't just keep sowing, keep
Mhm.
sowing, keep
Mhm.
sowing.
I'm going to leave this then as a takeaway. Don't let the ones that won't keep you from the ones that will. All right.
That's
So
it.
many times we let the one bad conversation shut us down when maybe there was three more about to happen that would have done something,
Mhm.
right? So one little, especially if it's early in the day, one little bad thing in the early that shuts down, don't let it shut down your whole day. Build a wall around that one little bad thing and stay at it. That's how you're going to win. Okay. Anybody else on here want to add? You have 3, 2, 1, out. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day. Let's go
Bye,
get it.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.